B&5, in case you're new to FBass, which I know most of you people who suffer through my videos are not new to FBass, aren't. But if you are, just in case, it never hurts. Top row, we've got neck volume, we've got bridge volume, and we've got tone. And then we've also got the single coil humbucking switch. On FBass, a little different than most. When it's in the down position, it's in single coil mode, so that puts it in humbucking. Most FBass players play it in single coil mode unless they need to start soloing pickups. And some people like the smoothness and warmth of tone you get in humbucking mode. So if you do, that's that. And then back here is active passive. So down it's an active, and passive you have nothing but tone and volume. These bottom controls don't do anything. And then here we've got bass, mid, and treble. And on FBass, of course, the preamp is boost only. So if you want to like cut a frequency, maybe you want to cut your mids, which is pretty popular, then really you just boost the bass and treble controls and don't boost the mid. That's as simple as how it works. The other thing that is worth mentioning, because if you're not an experienced FBass player, you're not used to this, but most guys when they're setting their preamp on an FBass, because it's boost only, because the preamp is so warm and clean and clear sounding, it's not uncommon for guys to be boosting well over 50%. You know, on a traditional, like maybe like a Bartolini or something like that, you usually keep everything like on that center detent where it's flat, and then if you boost, you just like boost a little bit, and it's a lot, and you would never boost all the way because it'd be unusable. Not the case with FBass. You can like max that thing out. You can dime all these out, and it'll still sound good. I'll show you that here in a minute. Well, the bass will sound good. I won't sound good. I will sound sloppy and crappy like always. The bass will sound fantastic. But so most guys, like if you're wanting like a nice like sort of Marcus Miller type sound, we're going to keep it in the single coil position, active of course. We're going to dime out all the pickups in the preamp, and then you know this is max on for bass. We're probably going to be somewhere in that range there, based on what you want. Mids probably down somewhere in this bottom quarter to half range, somewhere in there, wherever you like for mids. And then treble would not be uncommon to be dimed out, or somewhere in that same vicinity that the bass is in. Again, you would never do this on like a Bartolini preamp or an Aguilar, and those are all great preamps. I'm not dissing those, I'm just pointing out the difference. But with the FBass, you would. This would be very common. Matter of fact, what would be uncommon would be to play in a situation in which your controls are below half, like all of them would be, or even half would be pretty uncommon. At that point, the output's really, really low. So you would generally kind of crank it up. I should almost make this a separate video. I might do that. I might edit this out and talk about FBass preamp at some point, because people always have a lot of questions on that. So a setting like this would be, like kind of like a center setting, although there is no center on this because it's boost only. I don't see a lot of guys use that. I see most guys for like a general all-around sound, they're going to be somewhere like in this neighborhood, something like that. Hopefully you can see that. I think that comes through okay. That's pretty common. If a guy wants just a nice warm sound, he might pull the treble back a little bit and boost mids and basses a touch. That gives you like a really good kind of rock and roll type sound. So that's somewhat different. Every once in a while when I sell these to someone, they'll sometimes tell me, I feel like I'm having a hard time dialing it in. And I bet 9 times out of 10 it's because they're too afraid to actually use these things the way they're meant to be used. And they want a little bit of bass, and they're doing that way, thinking like on a Bartolini normally that would just be thumping. But on these it's not that way. So I usually tell them, man, don't be afraid to turn it up. That's why it's there for. Remember Mike Tobias saying that once, that he'll have so many customers that will try his basses in these center positions, and if they don't like them, then they just think they don't like the bass. And he's like, man, the preamp's on there for a reason. It's designed to be used, and dial in the sound that you want. So I think a very important point. Anyway, so there's a little bit of FBass preamp info for you, and I'll play a little bit with this bass.